This billionaire had enough money to buy almost anything in the world, but there was one thing he could never buy: time. One day, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and by coincidence, the man in the hospital bed next to him had the same disease. Carter was an ordinary mechanic who spent his life working and caring for his family. Edward was a billionaire who owned the hospital, but had no real family of his own. At first, they couldn't stand each other, but after Edward realized that no one might be waiting for him outside the hospital, Carter began to see him differently. One day, Edward found a list Carter had written years ago. It was a list of things he wanted to do before he died: climb the Himalayas, go skydiving, drive a race car, travel the world, and help strangers. Edward decided to pay for everything and invited Carter to complete the list with him. Since they didn't have much time left, they decided to make every moment count. Their journey began with skydiving. Carter was terrified, but the moment he jumped from the plane, he started laughing with joy. For the first time, he truly felt alive. They traveled around the world, drove race cars, ate expensive food, and experienced things they had never dared to do before. But along the way, they became close friends. Carter discovered that Edward had everything money could buy, except a family. The person he was most afraid to face was his own daughter. As Carter's condition grew worse, his wife called and asked him to come home. When they reached Egypt, Edward was forced to ask himself an important question: had his life made anyone else happy? The answer was painful. He had spent his entire life working and had neglected his daughter until she cut him out of her life. Carter tried to bring them back together. After a heated argument, he drove Edward to his daughter's house. Edward was furious, but eventually found the courage to face her. Carter returned home and spent his final days with his family. Before he died, he wrote Edward a letter thanking him for everything. After the funeral, Edward finally reunited with his daughter and met his grandchildren for the first time. Years later, Edward passed away too, and his ashes were placed beside Carter's on top of the Himalayas. Because in the end, they weren't trying to escape death. They simply wanted to make sure they had no regrets when it finally came.